Welcome to another class with Math Academy, and today we'll be learning the topic quadratic equation and the method we'll be using for solving quadratic equations. In this video, it's going to be factorization method. There are other methods used in solving quadratic equations, which are the quadratic formula, using the quadratic formula, and also completing the square method. But in today's class, we'll be looking at solving questions using the factorization method. Now, before we proceed, the general quadratic equation is given by ax to the power of 2 plus bx minus c is equal to 0. This is the general quadratic equation. This is what it looks like. So whenever you see an equation with having x as the highest power of x as 2 and the equation is equal to 0, then that equation is a quadratic equation. How do you solve quadratic equations? By factorization method. There are basically two steps you take while solving quadratic equations using the factorization method. The first thing you need to do is to multiply the constant, is to multiply the constant c by the coefficient of x squared rather, which is a. So you're multiplying with this. So this simply means first thing you need to do is to multiply a times c. That's the first step. And then the second step is to do what? To find two numbers, is to look for two numbers such that when you multiply them, such that when you multiply these two numbers, you're going to have c. When you multiply Okay, let's call a times c. When we multiply a times c, let's call that you have the result as d. So look for two numbers such that when you multiply, you will have d. You have the value of d, whatever you achieve here. And second thing is when you sum those same two numbers, when you sum them, you're going to have b. You're going to have this value of b. So once you can achieve that, then you are good to go in solving quadratic equations using the factorization method. Okay, let's put this into practice by solving one question real quick. So if we have a question on the board that says that we should factorize using the quadratic by factorization method, 4x squared minus 4x minus 15 is equal to 0. Now, basically, the first step we will need to take, remember, is to multiply a by c. And what's our a? Our a is 4, our c is negative 15. So the first thing I need to do, first step, I need to multiply a by c. And if we do that, that gives us 4 multiplied by negative 15. And that's going to give us, if we multiply that, we're going to have negative 60. And now the second step is to look for two numbers such that when I multiply these two numbers, I will have negative 60. And when I sum these same two numbers, I will have negative 4. Now, this is what I teach my students who find it difficult to look for those two numbers, because this is where students get stuck. Sometimes it becomes really, really difficult to come up with those two numbers. Here is an easy trick how I teach my students to find those two numbers. So we're looking for two numbers such that when you multiply them, you're going to have 60, negative 60. What I just teach my students is look for the factors of 60. And how do I look for the factors of 60? I just use the division method. I say, can 2 can go here is 30, 2 can go here is 15, 3 can go here, that's 5, 5 can go here, that's 1. So now I need two numbers so that when I multiply them, I will have 60. And when I sum the same two numbers, I will have 4. So those two numbers could be 2 and 3. 2 times 3, that is 6. 2 and 5. 2 times 5, that is 10. So see how it was so easy for me to come up with those numbers 10 and 6. Because if I multiply 10 times 6, if I say 10 multiplied by 6, I will have 60. Okay, don't worry, we are looking for negative 60. But hold on. I can now manipulate this by looking for where I'm going to add my negative sign. So if I say negative 10 multiplied by 60, I can now get negative 60. Now let's see negative 10 plus 6. Remember, we are going to add those two numbers. So I'm adding negative 10 to 6. And negative 10 plus 6, I'm going to get negative 4. Yeah, negative 4, which is what we were looking for. So you can see that those two numbers, therefore, are negative 10 and positive 6. So see how it was so easy for me to find those numbers by just looking for the factors of 60. All right, so let's proceed. So we know that those numbers are negative 10 and positive 6. So this becomes 4x squared minus 10x plus 6x minus 15 is equal to 0. What I've just done, I just substitute those two numbers. I got negative 10 and positive 6. I substituted for this. I have not changed anything because negative 10x plus 6x is still equal to negative 4x. So I just substituted this for this in this equation. All right, so I've not really changed anything by doing so. I just did a substitution there. And I can proceed by saying 4x squared minus 10x. And then we have plus 6x minus 15 is equal to 0. So I'm just taking these two numbers together, Basically, that's just what I've done. So this can give me, I'm going to factorize this equation here, 4x squared minus 10x. What's common between 4 and 10 is 2. So, and what's common between x squared and x is x. Then I rewrite what's left. So I have 2x left minus, this is going to give me 5. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Okay, plus I'll do the same thing here, just factorize. What's common between 6 and 15? 3 is common between 6 and 15. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to say 3 is common. And then this is going to be 2x minus 5 equal to 0. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So having said that, we can now proceed by saying 2x plus 3 and then 2x minus 5. Taking what's outside together and then taking what's inside together, all equal to 0. This simply means that 2x plus 3 equal to 0 or 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore, 2x is equal to negative 3 or 2x is equal to positive 5. This means x is equal to negative 3 over 2 or x is equal to 5 over 2. So that becomes the value for x, the two values of x when we factorize that quadratic equation. I believe this was simple and clear enough. Trick here is look for those two numbers. And how do you find those two numbers easily? Just look for the factors of 60 in this example. Then you just factorize. All right, so let's solve a second example and then we're going to see how we can also apply this same rule, the same step to solving these questions. We have 5x squared minus 13x minus 6 is equal to 0. So if we are to solve this, the same procedure we use, we're going to look for two numbers such that we'll multiply them. We'll multiply a by c, we'll have d, and look for two numbers such that we'll multiply them, we'll have that value of d, and we'll sum those numbers, we'll have the value of b. So first of all, I have to multiply by saying 5 multiplied by negative 6 is equal to, that's going to give me negative 30. Negative 30. So now I'm going to look for two numbers such that when I multiply those two numbers, I will have negative 30. And then when I sum those two numbers, I will have negative 13. Factors of 30, and the factors of 30, I can say 2 we divide here is 15. 3 we divide 15 is 5. And then 5 we divide 5 is 1. Okay, so this can also say that we can also say that these numbers are 5. I can pick 5 and let's try 5 and 2, 5 and 3, and then 2. 5 times 3 is 15, and then 2. So let's do that. So this means, remember we are looking for negative 30 and negative 13 for sum and for product. So what are those two numbers if I say negative 15 multiplied by 2? Definitely I will have negative 30. What about negative 15 plus 2? Negative 15 plus 2 will definitely give me negative 13. So those two numbers are negative 15 and 2. See how easy that was? Good. That's how we solve questions on Maths Academy. We make things look so easy for you. Without racking your brains, we give you tricks that will help you to get things done, work smarter, solve smarter, and get your answers real quick. That's what we do on Maths Academy. If you're just joining Maths Academy, if this is your first video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We drop videos every day on maths questions that prepares you for external examinations, your exam in university, you want to write international exams, you're preparing for professional exams that includes you to write mathematics. Here is the best page, the best channel for you to learn mathematics and prepare yourself, equip yourself enough to face any maths exam anywhere in the world. All right, so quickly we now know that those two numbers are minus 15 and 2. So we just proceed by saying substitute those numbers into the equation 1. So this becomes 5x squared minus 15x, remember, minus 15, and then plus 2x, because that value was positive 2, then minus 6 is equal to 0. This becomes 5x squared minus 15x plus 2x minus 6 equal to 0. And what we have here is 5. Okay, now we need to factorize this. What's common between 5 and 15 is 5. And what's common between x squared and x? That's x. So this becomes 5x. And then what's left here? X is left minus what's left here? That's going to be 3. It's going to be left. So if you do 5x multiplied by x is 5x squared. 5x multiplied by negative 3 is negative 15x. Okay? So this becomes a positive. We'll do the same thing here. We say what's common between 2x, 2 and 6. What's common there is 2. So I bring my 2 outside and I have x minus 3 equal to 0. Now, if you notice, whatever we have in this bracket here is the same thing you're going to have here. Always take note, you must have the same thing in the bracket. If not, you need to go back and look at your work again. So this means 5x plus 2, if you take the two values, x minus 3 is equal to 0. 5x and plus 2. X minus 3, take one of them. So having said that, proceed by saying 5x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. Why? Because the whole of this equation was equal to 0. The whole of this was equal to 0. So there are two values of x. Either this is equal to 0 or this is equal to 0. So if we proceed here, this becomes 5x is equal to negative 2 or x is equal to positive 3. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2 divided by 5 or x is equal to 3. So that becomes the two values for x if we factorize that quadratic equation. Are you enjoying the vibe? Are you enjoying how we're solving questions on Math Academy? If you're enjoying it, please give us a like, give us a share, subscribe to this channel, and let's keep learning mathematics. Okay, so we have one last question here on the board. I'm going to leave this question for you to solve. I'm going to leave this question for you to solve it. You can just try your hands on this question and see how it goes. So we have 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. So pause this video, try this question yourself, see if you're going to get it, and then if you don't get it, come back to the video, watch it again, look at where you made a mistake, correct your mistake, and learn from the mistake. All right, let's solve this together. I believe we must have solved this already and gotten an answer. So let's do this together. The first thing I need to do is to multiply a by c, and that's going to give me 2 multiplied by 3. That's 6. So now I look for two numbers such that when I multiply these two numbers, I will have 6. And when I sum these two numbers, I will have 7. Well, without further ado, let's do that. And we already know that number is going to be 6 and 1. This is very easy. Okay, because 6 multiplied by 1 is 6. And then we also have that 6 plus 1 is 7. So let's proceed. This is going to give me 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3 is equal to 0. This becomes 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3 equal to 0. So I'm just taking these two. This is what I'm doing. Taking these together, taking these together. Okay, so this is equal to 0. So I need to factorize this. What's common between 2 and 6 is 2. So I bring out 2. What's common between x squared and x is x. Then I write what's left. What's left is x plus 3 plus also x plus 3. If you notice, what I have here is what I have in here. So this becomes 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 is equal to 0. There's an invisible one here. Coefficient of this x plus 3 is 1. So that's where the 1 is coming from. That's why I say 2x plus 1 equal to 0, or x plus 3 equal to 0. Therefore, our x is equal to negative 1 over 2, or our x is equal to negative 3. That was pretty simple and straightforward. All right. Did you get the answer correctly? If you did, comment in the comments box, I got it right. If you didn't get it right, also comment in the comment box, I didn't get it right. And then if you didn't get it right, learn from the mistakes, watch the video and learn from the mistake and make the corrections yourself. So we have one last question for this video. You also need to solve this yourself. This one looks a little bit tricky, but it's not. So you have to solve this question yourself. Pause this video. Don't attempt to look at how I started solving it. Don't attempt that. Just pause it right now. Get a sheet of papers and start doing the working. And when you're done, you resume the video and see if you got it right. I need to first of all transform this equation to look like the general equation of a quadratic equation. Recall a quadratic equation is given by the general formula, but general equation as this. So I need to make this look like this. So to do so, I need to do a little bit of transformation. I need to say that 6x squared minus 17x plus 5 is equal to 0. You can call this my equation 1. So this is what I'm going to be working with. Now I'm going to look for two numbers such that when I multiply, I'm going to multiply a by c. That's going to say 6 multiplied by 5 is equal to 30. Now I'm going to look for two numbers such that when I multiply them, I'm going to have 30. And then when I sum those two numbers, I'm going to have negative 17. Okay, we already did something like that with 30, but let's do it again. Let's look for 30. 2 divided by 30 is 15. 3 will go here is 5. 5 will go here is 1. 3 times 5 is 15 and 2. So we have 15 and 2. Now let's look at how we can use 15 and 2 to get positive 30 and use 15 and 2 to get negative 17. So if we do negative 15 multiplied by negative 2 is positive 30. Now when we sum negative 15 plus negative 2, we're going to have negative 15. Positive times negative will give us negative, and then 2. So negative 15, negative 2 is negative 17. So therefore, those two numbers are negative 15 and negative 2. All right, did you get negative 15 and negative 2 as the two numbers? If you didn't, then you know that you're on your way to getting it wrong. But you can still learn and see where you made a mistake. Okay, so let's solve this now. This is going to give us 6x squared. I'll just substitute that value of negative 15x and then negative 2x. I'm substituting it for 17x because this is what this means. This means 17x. Okay, so if I do that, this is now positive 5 is equal to 0. So I have 6x squared minus 15x plus 2x negative 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. Now, if I factorize this, I have what's common between 6 and 15 is 3. So I bring out my 3. What's common between x squared and x is x. All right, and then I write what's left. So what's left inside is 2x minus what's left. This is going to be 5 plus, okay, this is going to be negative minus 2x minus 5. Minus times 2x is minus 2x. Minus times minus 5 is plus 5. So what I just did here, I just multiplied this to eliminate this negative sign. To eliminate the negative sign in here, I'll just multiply through here by minus 1. Okay, so minus 1. But I don't need to write the 1 outside. I just leave the 1 there. You already know what's there. So this is equal to 0. This means 3x minus 1, 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. And then we have 3x minus 1 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. This means that 3x is equal to 1, or 2x is equal to 5. Therefore, x is equal to 1 over 3, or x is equal to 5 divided by 2. So this becomes the two values of x when we factorize the equation 6x squared plus 5 is equal to 17x. If you got this right, comment now in the comment box, I got it right. If you didn't get it right, also comment in the comment box, I didn't get it right. And if you didn't get it right, I hope you've seen where you made a mistake, problem in the signs, maybe you flipped the sign and that's, gave you a wrong answer. Now you can see the right solution and the right step to solving this correctly. If you have any other question, you can just drop it in the comment box and I will reply to your questions with an answer. And if you also have any quadratic question that has been giving you a challenge, being difficult for you to solve, just drop it in the comment section. I'm going to make a special video to solve that question, and I'm going to also notify you when I drop a video to the solution. Okay, so just give me a like, give me a subscription, and turn on the notification bell so that when I drop videos, you're going to be among the first to get these videos. Thank you for watching Maths with Math Academy. See you in our next video.